You know that, I don't know, most of you probably do that anyway. But if you put a carriage return, anything you write after the carriage return will be there on the screen for you whenever you want it, and it never prints out. So this thing is on the plus disk. It tells you what this particular template number 3, will do for you. It has full coding, and what I mean by full coding is I tried to on the second page of this thing. I tried to standardize the coding that goes into that's in your printer, and I did it by using no keys. I didn't use any of the key characters at all. So your parentheses and brackets and all that stuff is still in effect. And these are the codes. Whatever turns on the key, the next letter of the alphabet turns it off. So code A, for example, says italics on, and then code B would turn off the italics, and then code C and D are superscripted and subscripted, and then E would turn them on. And then code E is condensed, code F rather is condensed fine, and so on, high and large. And I printed this thing out right on plus. I write it with the plus in there. And you can see the kinds of combinations you can have. Your underlining can stay on as long as you want. When you're ready to turn off your underlining, because you turned it on, F will turn it off. And if you look at W on this particular sheet, you can see that you can combine these things. You can have double struck, letter quality, underlined, all at once, and with one keystroke. And the X will turn it off. You want to get yourself some papers that are on those desks there. Anyway, that's what this means, full coding. Whatever's on this sheet is in that full coding. And for each of the templates that I have in Plus, that coding up to W stays the same, so that you can always call those things no matter what template you have. You can always keep that stuff always in your printer. And the codes only take 2 sectors. So if you want to put it right on your funnel web disk, or you want to put it right in your RAM disk or something like that, you can throw all those templates in. They're tiny. And anyway, it also includes spaces. Now this is an important thing. Spacing, particularly if you put out a newsletter, if you want to write a form letter or something like that, you want right justification. If you use a control code, the control code takes away a space from you, so that your right justification becomes jagged. So when I built the template, as a matter of fact, some people said, too bad you couldn't get rid of spacing. I think it was Tom Friedman, when I was talking to him at one of the fairs, said the one thing he didn't like about using the control codes was that you didn't have any spacing. It messed up your spacing. So I went back home and said, gee, it's something we should be able to get rid of. So this includes the alterations to the spacing. This also, at C3, this happens to be C9, but this C3 includes graphics. If I want to say I heart my, do I have that on here somewhere? No, I don't think so, unfortunately. I have a heart and I have a bunch of other things I just put in my graphics in. And if I want to say I heart my TI, I can just press N. N for me is what I substituted on my transliteration key, and I go ahead and type regular type, and then when I want a heart, I press N, and it will give me the heart, or whatever graphic you want. You can actually spell out your name in graphics and have it be a penmanship type thing rather than that, and just have it by a single keystroke. All that's in here. Anyway, so this now is I can start typing, and at this point. One of the problems I'm going to have is turning around. I'm a touch typist, and I'm used to having a monitor in front of me. So disregard my typos here. What happens if I just start typing? Now, at this point, you can see that I've typed, this is an example of how to use the plus files, but because I wasn't looking, I have to go back up here, and Tony McGovern built this wonderful little control key that lets you turn everything into small letters if you want, or reverse it and turn it all into capital letters just by one keystroke. This guy's a genius. And so I can go back and just change these to small letters. Isn't that nice? How many of you didn't know that was on the funnel web? Did not know that feature was there? Isn't that a nice feature? All you do is press Control semicolon to change all your small letters to caps. For example, I'll just go from here. Control semicolon changes them all to caps for you. And Control period, while you're in funnel web, will change them all to small letters. Fee. So if you're going along and you're not looking at something, you're looking at a piece of paper, you look up and, oh, half the screen is full of capital letters and you really want to do something, just go back up and press Tony's inserted code there. But you also can see that this is this word wrap's at 38 columns. And because of word wraps at 38 columns, you can see everything on the screen, which is really nice, and I'm sure most of you use that. Oh,
Just the version 4.0.
yes, it's just on version 4.0.
I've read the docs on 3.4, which is what I've been running, and it didn't say anything like that.
On one version, on one of the last versions, 3.4, he put that in. So you may have that version, but I don't know. It says 3.4 on it, but of course he keeps changing. You know how he does that. So check your 3.4 if you have it. But 4.0 is so different from any of the 3 series. It's really worth getting the 4 fun of it. It's very much worth it. Anyway, it's built in, and it's a nice feature. But you notice that word wrap. Now, what's going to happen here is that this include file has in there all the coding, and you can come out of this file without losing anything simply by using show directory. And I have written this thing, and I don't want to lose it. Let's say I'm halfway through a letter. I don't want to lose the letter, but I want to read the last letter I wrote to make sure I'm not repeating myself. I just show the directory. And then after I show the directory on FunnelWeb, you can mark the things that you need to mark. And what I want to show you is what C3 actually is when you call this file up. So there is C3. It's a 4-sector file. It's larger because there's some graphic PLs in it. And so I just simply press 2 to mark that file. And then I look down here and I can do all these things with that. I can find out if this program is editor assembler or if this program is extended basic just by pressing the equal key. I've marked it just by pressing the number itself. And what I'm going to do is view it. I press view. If this is all happening, there are a lot of you, just be patient, I'm going to show some other things. When I press view, it brings up the file C3, it tells you right on there. This is what it looks like. C3 says to fill and adjust, so you get right adjustable margins. You don't have to worry about this and even know this. It's just simply a thing. You can just use it. It's a very user-friendly thing. I just want to show you how I got it. And my right margins is 74, my left is 3, and it has an automatic indentation of 2 for every time you press the enter key. That's built into your transliteration code right then and there on your plus file. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to know this because the tutorials tell you exactly what each plus file does. For example, plus file 4, template number 4, if you write term papers, my kids, I have 4 kids, they're 24, 23, 22, and 20. But when they were all teenagers at the same time, which was not a pleasant experience, when they were all teenagers at the same time, they would come up and, Dad, can you do this? Dad, can you do that? So I wrote, and they were doing term papers, and they wanted to use my computer. And they also had one. So I said, sure, you can do this. And I said, I'll make up a template for you. And so what I did, I made up a template that had an automatic header with the name on it, an automatic page number with a footer, and double spacing, narrow margins, whatever else they wanted. And it also included all the italics, underlining, stuff like that. So template number 4 is a term paper or a presentation paper code. And all you do is press number 4, and it's all automatically done for you. If you want to type, for example, condensed, compressed type, you can get 134 columns across and 134 lines down. And that means you can put 134 by 134 characters on a page, which means 18,000 characters you can fit on one page. Not that you really want to do it because people need a magnifying glass to read it afterwards, but when I discovered that a couple of years ago, I started writing letters to all my friends. You know, I'd write these long, long letters that I printed out on one page. And then people began to stop being friends of mine when they started receiving those letters and saying that they couldn't read it, they didn't want to deal with it. But that's what the templates look like. But you don't need to have to know that, but it'll tell you how to change these templates. And this template here, this long one here, is a graphic. That's a picture of a heart. And I show you on the plus disk exactly how to draw it and everything. Very simple. And plus it comes with a sheet of paper that shows you that. These other things are the italics. And all you do with the italics is press A. You don't lose any key characters because you're using what's on page 146 of the TI.